Welcome to Poultry Farm Guide. So on today's episode, I'm going to share with you secrets of raising baby chicks from day old to maturity with little or no debt. Thereafter, I'm going to share with you specific things you must do before your chicks arrive and things you must also do after they might arrive. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. My name is Uncle Samuel from poultryfarmguide.com. On this channel, I share helpful tips and guides to enable you to set up your poultry farming business and scale it up. Welcome back. As I said earlier, I will share with you secrets of raising baby chicks from day 1 to maturity with little or no debt. So let's get down to business. Mortality is one of the side effects of raising chickens, and one of the most fearful things prospective poultry farmer fear is mortality. Oh, my bird is going to die. I like this business. It is lucrative. Yes, if you don't have the right skill, the right guide. Now, one thing you have to have in mind is this. You expected, no matter how good you are, this general school of thought expects that mortality, we should expect 1 to 4% of mortality in any batch of chicks we raise. So you don't have to beat yourself if some mortality occur, and normally go with the mindset of I'm aiming for the star, but if I get the moon, no problem. Like, I don't want any mortality to occur, and it works for me. The next thing you have to also put in mind is that when a lot of deaths or mortality occurs between the first week, you know these chicks are bad from bad hatchery. They are bad breeds, okay? And secondly, your pre-arrangement before they arrive is poor. Maybe you did not hit up the brooder very well, and so on. So have that in mind, okay? Now, if the death occur after first week of brooding your chicks, you know that this way you should ask yourself questions. What did I do wrong? That is, a lot of death occur after the first week. So let's get down to business. The first secret is get your chicks from a reputable hatchery. Anything you are doing, if you don't get your chicks from a reputable hatchery, your quality chicks from a reputable hatchery, you're your own. The other tips I'm going to give you is not going to work. This is the success determining step when it comes to raising your chicks. Get a quality chicks from a reputable hatchery or supplier. I can't emphasize on this anymore. After getting your chicks, when picking your chicks, make sure you look at them very well. The ones that have deformities, the sick ones, the deformed ones, you return them and get a better one before you move. Count your chicks before you move to avoid problem. Okay? Now, after getting your chicks, then the next thing is to set up a brooder, a good brooder. Brooding, brooder guide. Let me just quickly explain these things. Brooding is the period of raising your baby chicks from day old to maturity until they are able to feed on their own, regulate their body temperature. During this time, you have to provide feed, warmth, security for the bed, clean water, and so on. This is what the mother hen does. She covers her chicks. She breaks any food particle she comes across to make sure that the birds can pick it and feed. She provide warmth when it is cold, and she secure them from predator. This is what you have to do. You become their mother hen. You become their mother, their mommy. So you have to take care of them very well at this stage. So this setting up the brooder is one of the aspects of where these chicks are going to stay. In this brooder, you have the heat source, the feeder, the drinker, and all that. Make sure the place is warm enough. Some people use what you call brooder guard, like a carbon sheet paper or plywood. They just make a circle and put these birds in numbers, maybe 50, 50, 50, or 20, 20, 20 in an open space in your pen, or you can just seclude a place, isolate a place, and make your brooder there. Ensure that the ventilation is alright. The ventilation of the brooder should not just come from directly to the bed, it should come from above, so that when the ventilation comes, it settles down gently on the bed, not just directly. It can cause draft and cause chill, and the birds might die. Okay, so make sure you have a good brooder I normally use carbon paper, or I use carton to just make my brooder guard. Or some people have a permanent brooder house where they brood their chicks. Okay, they might put a first ceiling to bring it down, use tarpaulin, seclude the place, secure the place to conserve heat, so that the fuel you are going to use to heat up the place, charcoal, and then the rest of the thing, you can use charcoal. Some people make use of charcoal to heat up the brooder. Some people make use of light bulb electricity. Some people make use of gas lamp. Some people make use of kerosene lamp. But the best, if you have electricity bulb, gas lamp is good. Charcoal is also good. But stove and lamp, kerosene lamp, have a lot of soot. They produce these things a lot. Even charcoal have a lot of soot as well. Make sure the charcoal is red very well before you take it inside. Most people use charcoal, so while heating the charcoal, make sure it is very red while taking it inside. Okay, after setting up the brooder, let me just go straight to temperature and heating. As I've said earlier, you can use electricity to provide the heat, or you can use charcoal or briquettes to provide the heat as well. So this heat must be accordant with the stated temperature. Temperature at every stage of the bird's life, the chick's life, is different. First week, first day, second day, third day. After a week, you have to adjust this temperature accordingly. I will leave the table in the screen so that you see how this temperature should be adjusted as the bird ages. Now, how do you monitor this bird if the temperature, the heat is too much or not? You can use thermometer, or you can use the behavior of the chicks. How do you use the behavior of the chicks? If the chicks come to the source of the heat, if they crowd around the source of the heat, it means that the temperature, the heat is too low, so you have to increase it. If they move away from the source of heat, it means the temperature, the heat is too much, it's too high, so you have to reduce it. If the temperature is okay, the birds or the chicks will be distributed in the pen, on the brooder, evenly. This is how you tell that, yeah, they are feeling alright, and they're moving, darting up and down, moving, eating and drinking. No one will be staying idle. Okay, now you can also, after the temperature, talk about lightening, put up the light. Apart from providing heat, the light is also used to see. So if you cannot read with the light, that means the light is too dim for them to eat and drink. So make sure the light is bright enough for you to read inside that place. Okay, so after setting up the brooder and all that, make sure you get your feed. You get a quality feed for your bird. Get a quality feed for your bird. Crumble feed is the best. Sieved, dust-free crumble feed is the best. Okay, now if you cannot get that, you get a pellets. Pellets, 2 mm pellets, very tiny one, 2 mm. Tell them to give you 2 mm when you go to the feed mill. Okay, now after talking about the feed should be rich and very rich. Constant feed for the first 1 week, especially in broilers. So after talking about the feed, we talk about the air, ventilation. As I said earlier, the vent should be placed above. Should not come directly to the chicks. Should come above, so that to avoid draft or chill, cold. So the next thing we have to look into again is placing the litter. I normally use wound shavings. Make sure the litter is deep enough. After washing and disinfecting the place, you put this litter. Litter is used for comfort. It also prevents the chicks from cold, and the litter also absorbs, of course, their poo, the moisture from their poo, the ammonia gases, and all that. Okay, so make sure you place litter. It's very, very important you place litter on the floor. Then after placing litter, you use newspaper or paper, any paper at all. Make sure this paper does not have ink. The one without ink or text is very good, because that ink can also contain some toxic substances as well. So you place it on top of the litter gradually. After some days, 2 to 3 days, you remove the newspaper. The reason why you put newspaper is for the chicks to to differentiate between feed and the litter. So the first 3 days you put the paper, sprinkle feed on the floor for them to pick. The feeder you are going to use should be a tray feeder where they can access the feed easily as well. So you spray the feed on top of it so that the bird can access this feed easily. Then after 3 days, the brain might have accustomed to this is feed, this is litter. So this is what I have to feed on. So you can remove the newspaper after 3 to 4 days. Then the next thing you have to also look at is water and the drinkers. Provide clean water. As soon as the bird arrives, the water should be on ground with vitamin glucose. For the first week, use herbs that have antibacterial activities or any synthetic drug, antibiotics that can keep the bird safe. We are not sure of your sanitation totally, okay? The first few days, the immune system of the bird haven't activated. It's not yet activated. So you have to make sure you protect this bird from diseases around, unseen diseases around your environment. So after placing the water and feed, the next thing we have to talk about again is disinfecting and cleaning the brooder or the pen. You have to make sure you wash the containers, the drinkers, the feeder. You clean them every morning. In fact, even within the day, make sure you clean these things. You come back, remove the poo from the water, you change it, you clean everywhere, you turn the feed so that they can eat, turn it, look, adjust, make sure everywhere is clean. Any wet place, you remove the newspaper that is wet or the litter that is wet, remove it, place new one. Again, make sure the place is clean and neat. And before the arrival of the birds, make sure the sawdust is already spread so that air can pass through the sawdust and remove some particles or gases that can cause allergy to the bird or harm the birds. Okay, so disinfect the place before the birds arrive, like twice. Wash, disinfect the place. You can use hypo and use bleach. There are so many disinfectants you can use to clean up the place before the birds arrive. Sanitation is very important. Then the last but not the least is security. Of course, you see how the mother hen protects the chicks from the pending danger, from house, from birds, from snakes, from all sorts of predators. Now you have to do the same. Make sure the place is safe, secure, so that there will not be entrance for snakes, cats, dogs, rats, name them. Even unwanted workers, visitors should not just go there. I've had cases where your child must just go to the pen and start using stick and hitting the chicks. The chicks I've seen, hitting the chicks. Oh, they should move away. They should. Any worker you are going, any person you are sending to your brooding house should be well trained and well instructed, okay, on how to handle these things so that they don't handle them anyhow. They can get stressed and just die. And the way they walk, you don't walk anyhow. You walk gently inside the brooding house, gently. You raise your leg, you don't put it immediately. You can step on anyone or something you use in protecting the birds can just fall on there and you can lose some bird. Your brooder guard should something that is very stable. Don't use a board that can fall or you're using block to hold. These things can fall, and you should be very careful at this first weeks of this chicken's life. Okay, secure the birds, provide enough security for them. This is what we do for the birds so that they will be happy. In turn, they will make us happy. Then, after having these things in mind, there's some specific activity you must do before the birds arrive. Of course, you have to clean the place. First, clean the place, disinfect the place. Secondly, you have to heat up the place to the right temperature before 1 hour before the birds arrive. Put the water and feed. Make sure the newspaper is on the litter. The litter depth should be at least half of your finger, index finger. The depth of the litter you're going to put should be at least half of the index finger. Then place the water, place the feed where the bird can access them, not closer to the wall. If you put the feed or the drinker closer to the wall, the birds cannot access it fully. So you have to put these things in an unrestricted area where the birds can access the feeder and the drinker. So put your necessary vitamins and glucose inside the water before the birds arrive. So You get ready, go and pick your bed. As I said earlier, make sure you sort your beds, the deformed one, the sick one, you change them, count your bed. Make sure the distance of getting your bed to your farm is not too far, so I have to minimize stress as soon as they arrive. Pick your bed immediately as soon as they arrive. Don't leave them till the evening. They will get weak and some of them might die before they even arrive to your farm. Okay, this is what you have to do before your birds arrive. After your bird might have arrived, you wait like 2 hours. Don't go. Wait for like 2 hours. Make sure they are all feeding. Make sure they are moving around. Make sure you take the weak ones and put their mouth in the water. Make sure all of them, teach them how to feed and drink. Spray some feed on the newspaper so that they can pick. If the water drinker is big, you can put some stones, clean stones, so that the bird will not drown inside. When they're trying to drink, some of them will just, and shieldness can kill, wetness can kill bird instantly. Okay, so make sure you put gravel, stones on the drinker to protect them from drowning. Then look at the temperature, make sure they are okay, it's not too hot, not too low, not too cold. Then after that, make sure the air is also, the ventilation is also okay. The ventilation is to adjust accordingly. If it's too hot, if the ventilation is too stuffy, adjust the ventilation. Then the last thing you have to do, after 2 hours, 75% of the bird might have had full crop. Then 4 hours again, 80%. Then 8 hours, more than 80% should have full crop. You know, the crop is here, you just touch it like a semi-liquid solid is, you know, where the food stay temporary before it digests finally. Now, after 24 hours, more than 95% of the birds should have full crop. So do this thing randomly in your pen. So I'm sure with this, I believe your bird will not die, and you have a full birds, just the way you brought them in. 100 birds, 100 mature birds. Okay? If 1 or 2 dies, don't kill yourself. Remember, the normal expectancy of mortality is between 1 to 4%. When it begins to go above that, you have to check your management. Remember, the first week when they die is from the hatchery. When they die a lot in the first week, the first normally is from the hatchery, bad breed of birds. But when they start dying very well, a lot of death after the first week, you have to ask yourself a question. Okay? So if this is your first time of visiting my channel, like this video, subscribe, click the notification bell so to be notified whenever I release my next video. Always make your birds happy, because a happy birds make a happy farmer. Sam is out. See you on my next video.